Incoming transmission.
Hey guys, welcome to the Outpost. I'm the nerd, Outpost nerd, and I'm glad to have y'all here. You know, today's kind of laid back. Just gonna be chatting a little bit about stuff on my mind, chatting with you, the chat, and everyone else. If you wanna, hey, Ann, how you doing? Welcome to the Outpost. Glad you're here. You know, it's been a crazy week, I think, for everybody. Crazy few months, actually. You know, but Nico, what's up? What's up? How's it going, y'all? How's it going? See who don't get anyone else in here. Let's see. We've had, especially down here in my neck of the woods, we've had a rough go the past week, couple weeks. You know, part of my state got hit by Hurricane Ian. A lot of people displaced. And having gone through Hurricane Michael a couple years before, I know how that feels. I know how it feels. Just 1 minute, everything's great. Everything's, for lack of a better word, perfect. And then the next, in an instant, your whole world's turned upside down. It's never going to be the same. With Michael, with Ian, there was a lot of flooding. With Michael, it's a lot of trees we had down and a lot of rubble. So you can just keep people. I know people are always saying, "What good does thoughts and prayers do?" It helps a lot for a person knowing that there's someone out there thinking of them, taking the time out of their busy schedule, out of their lives, just to think, "Oh, I hope they're okay." Or if you have family or friends down there, find out what you can do. Find a local charity that is donating the Hurricane Ian relief, and give what you can, even if it's $5 here or a case of water. I mean, I know after Michael, water for a lot of people was the biggest issue. With my family, we had every pot and pan we could find in our house filled with water. But then when the storm actually hit and our roof caved in, nearly all our water was contaminated with fallen drywall. It was undrinkable after the storm. And we were lucky. We had a neighbor he had one of those big industrial water containers, ones that are like 5 feet tall by like 5 feet wide, carry hundreds of gallons of water in it. He was lucky. We were lucky enough. He put a sign out on it that said, for the whole neighborhood, not just my family, but our entire neighborhood, said, "Come and get it." So every morning I'd load up buckets and yeah. That's the problem. What's that phrase? Water everywhere and not a drop to drink. I mean, we live on a lake, but we would take lake water and fill like up the toilets and stuff. But we were lucky enough for about a week. We went to our neighbors and got water, and he was gracious enough to let us have as much as we needed. But I understand the feeling of losing your home, losing everything you own. So, you know, if you can, reach out to one of these charities that are going down to the Tampa area. But we've had with Michael, we had see, I'm looking to see how much. Trying to find how much. Trying to find how much debris Michael had. So, I can't find it. But it was hundreds and hundreds of tons of debris that. Yes, Ian. Luckily, well, we were a little worried. My dad and I, we started batting down the hatches when it first entered the Gulf because it hit farther east than it was originally thought, and if it had gone the route that that was originally going to take, we would have been right on the western edge of it. But we were lucky, luckier than everyone down there. We really didn't have anything happen from Ian, but it's like I heard what someone say one time, and it's kind of true. It's like how do you pray for a hurricane? Do you don't want it to hit you, but you don't want it to hit anyone else? So how do you pray for that? But we were okay. We haven't had a storm hit us since Michael about 4 or 5. I think it was 2018 is when Michael hit. I mean, I'll never forget that day. I've shared before where I'm sitting right now, guys. The entire roof was gone. We live, like I said, we live on a lake, and we think a tornado hit and came by and tore the roof off. But we weren't injured or anything. We just had a lot of water damage. We basically had to gut the house for black because of the mold. Replace every bit of drywall. Replace all the fixtures, all the electrical. But it took us about 2 or 3 years to get back into our home. But we were lucky. We had my grandmother's home in town had been empty and very minimal damage to it. Some roof damage, which got fixed fairly quickly. And we were able to move there after about 2 or 3 weeks in our house, our regular house. But we were okay. And everything's good now. And I just remember the pain that those people are down in Tampa around that area are going through right now. I'll never forget that day. I'll be 99. I could be 99 years old, and I'll remember Hurricane Michael, and as long as I live. I'll never forget the sight of seeing the tin of our back porch blown off into the empty lot across the street. I'll never forget going down the highway into town and seeing 30-ton rail cars that were supposed to be on the train tracks on the left side of the road, thrown hundreds of feet across the street, across the highway on their side. It was just devastating. My town, we hadn't been hit by that strong of a storm in years. And no one expected it to be that strong, not even meteorologists, not even the Weather Channel or our local guys. No one thought it was going to be that strong. We we were all told it's going to be like it came into the Gulf, maybe category 1 or 2. And it was slowly coming towards us. So we all, we did what we've done all the time. We got supplies, filled everything with water, battened down everything outside that we could, and we just hunkered down. Well, I don't know if many of y'all know what red tide is. Red tide is when the water gets hot and it causes these polyps or like plants on the bottom of the Gulf to bloom, and it causes how can I start? It's not really red. It's kind of red, but it's very acidic. You can smell it in the air. It can, like, the worst I've ever experienced it. It's like it would irritate your eyes, but it's caused by hot water. And at the time, the days before leading up to Michael, we had a bunch of red tide along the coast, along the water in my town. So what I think happened, Michael 1 or 2 comes chugging along, spinning in the Gulf, heading towards my town, hits that bit of red tide. Now what? I can show you some pictures of the damage. I'll like to show you some. Well, what I think happened. Hold on. Share present. Share screen. Here's part of my town. That was right there on the water. But you got a boat thrown hundreds of feet across a road. It was horrible. And let me bring up some more pictures. Here's one that hits very close to home for me. Oh, that's not Nico. That's not the worst. This one, next one I'm going to show you, it's close to me. Now, in the article, it says it's a high school. This is not a high school. This is my middle school that I went to. This is where I played. This is the gym I played in. This is where I spent days playing basketball, dodgeball, all sorts of stuff. This is that's my middle school, just gutted. Here's another. This is a shopping center. You can see all this used to be tree in the back used to be thick trees. Oh, Nico, you are 100% right. There's footage. I wish I could find it. It's not just whole houses; it's whole communities. Whole communities gone. But this is the view from inside my school gym middle school gym. I mean, it looks like someone just sliced the sides off. This is where I played, like I said, played basketball. This is where I'd go for school assemblies. This was my home for a while, and no one remembers it. Okay. Bring up. Yes, that's what I wanted. Okay, I got it now. Oh, Nico, you're jumping ahead of me, son. Just wait, buddy. I'm glad you say that because I'm going to share this with you. Someone made this. It's satellite images. Before it's a slider. You can slide it either way. It shows you can take the satellite image from an area before the storm and slide over. It's the same exact area, and oh my god, it looks completely different. You mean how far Michael was from me, Ann? Is that what you mean? Let me know what you mean that, because I was literally maybe 6 or 7 miles from the eye of Michael. That's how far I was. Michael hit directly where I'm at. Yeah. And I was miles. It literally went. The eye was probably about 5 or 6 miles from where I'm at. But let me. Nico, that was the thing. I remember. I'll never forget the 20-foot mountains of debris on the side of the roads. I'd be walking down down my street in my front yard. We had mountains, literal mountains of our lives. I had to, my room, like I said earlier, the drywall collapsed. I had to take a snow shovel and just basically shovel my entire life away. But it was, and this whole thing, I don't believe a man should not cry. Funerals, tragic events. Now, I'm not saying make a big deal about it. My dad is a tough son of a bitch. But he looked at my mom after that afternoon after Hurricane Michael, with tears in his eyes, and looked at her and said, "If I'd known this was going to happen, you would have been gone." Because that was the thing. No one knew Michael was going to be that bad, as bad as it was. Now, this is a community called Mexico Beach in my town. And look at this. This is the same area. Here it is before. Great little fishing community. My dad and I, we used to go over there and put the boat in, go up into the rivers, up into the upriver, or my whole family. Every year we used to, at the end of the summer, we'd gather at one of the hotels there. That week we'd be out fishing, scalloping, red snapper, all this amazing seafood. We'd go to one of the hotels here in Mexico Beach. and have basically our family reunion, big fish fry, all sorts of amazing foods that my family would make. So this is before, same area. That is the same area. There was after when Mexico Beach was hit, it was probably you could probably count on your hand how many houses were left. It was one of the scariest times in my life. It was that day. I'm not too proud to say I was scared. You know, my grandma used to say, if you're in a storm and you hear a freight train and you're nowhere near train tracks, you're in trouble. I heard a freight train that day when that tornado came by, and my grandmother was not lying. Yeah, and we lost probably about half our population to people having to move away. I know because you got to realize my town, people are always saying, oh, over the 2018, 2019, 2020, all the 19 and 20, the thing that I'm not going to mention it, but what happened there, you got to realize we weren't even when everything started happening worldwide. I'm not going to say it. I think y'all know what I'm talking about. My town was not. We were still recovering. We still are recovering in some ways. One of my dear friends, one of my closest friends, is the school superintendent, local school superintendent. He had a hard time finding teachers, or even filling up having enough students to justify opening a school. They had to rebuild our entire infrastructure in our town. I just it still gives me it makes me a little if we have a storm come in now, I'm like, oh, okay, I get a little nervous. But and then this past summer, and we lost a lot of people. Just moved away, and because so many houses were destroyed. I mean, we had and for a long time, for almost 2-3 years, we had FEMA trailer camps for a while. It wasn't until maybe year and a half ago they finally got the last people out of the FEMA trailer. So a lot of people, we lost probably a quarter of our population. I don't know the exact numbers. Hey Rex, what's up? What's up? But we're rebuilding. One thing I miss is the woods. I would spend a lot of time walking through the woods, and now can't do that. Most of the trees are gone now. We had in our yard, we lost probably 7 or 8 trees, and we were lucky that none of them hit our house. And it wasn't, and we had one literally fall within 6 inches of our garage and almost landed on our garage. Almost crushed my dad's truck. But we were lucky. We had a lot of family from the area that wasn't parts of the state that wasn't affected by Michael. Really, rallied around us, came, brought us supplies, a generator, all sorts of stuff we needed. But we're good now. I just bring all this up because there are people. I wish I could do more for people down south because I know what it's like. Um, but it comes in part to every place. Well, I'm not going to say coming. Every place you live has problems. And Mother Nature is not selective where she where she where she throws her wrath. But Michael was. I'm trying to find something. Yeah, and you're right. And that's one of the good things about living in the United States. You have all these support programs. I mean, DeSantis and Biden had FEMA and the National Guard in an instant ready to go. But Michael, wind speed wise, was 162, and that's Category 5. And the only reason many believe, and I tend to agree, that the only reason that we have that wind speed for Michael is because the weather gear that measures these storms, well, it was housed at our local Air Force base, and our Air Force base was right on the water, and it got destroyed. So some say Michael could have been up in the 170s, 180s. It was one of the strongest hurricanes to ever hit the continental U.S. With Ian and Katrina, the damages from those storms, it was the flooding, and that's what people down south are dealing with now. I had a lot of students in high school, a lot of classmates in high school. I was in high school when I was a junior or senior when Katrina hit. We had a lot of people move from New Orleans over to our town after the storm, after Katrina. But it was the floodings, especially with Katrina, the levees breaking, and with Ian, a lot of the flooding, which was that's the major issues with the storm. But it's Mother Nature's gonna show off wherever you go. But it's but yeah, I agree, and a lot of people. It's just I'm glad you brought that up because this goes into my next topic. I've seen a lot of gaslighting this week. I'm not gonna hide it. I'm a fan of Nick Rekieta. I tend to agree with him a lot of things. Sometimes he goes a little too far with what he says, in my opinion. But I'm not gonna say, oh, he's wrong or anything. But we saw one of the biggest, and this is a canary in the coal mine, in my opinion, with the Alex Jones case. Now, I'm a free speech supporter. You can say whatever you want, but you are not, and I disagree with a lot of people. You're not. Oh, I can't. No, no. I'm not gonna. That doesn't make sense. You're free to say what you want, and other people are free not to listen. We need free speech so we can hear the good ideas with the along with the bad ideas and determine which idea goes where. This week, we saw a massive one, probably one of the biggest false flag campaigns in probably ever in YouTube's history. And for a while, it looked like it was going to work. Nick Ricade, he says he's done this 5 years. 5 years of work were nearly lost because someone decided, I don't like you. I want you unpersoned. Let me look. Now, yeah, a lot of people. Going back to, I want to address this before I move on with my Ricada spiel. Yeah, it's the same thing. No one knows what an earthquake is like unless you're out in California or lives and living it. No one knows what a rock slide is unless you live in the mountains. Each place has its own issues. So, and it comes with the territory, literally. But getting into what I want to share this. What does it mean to be unpersoned? What does it mean? Here's this. The definition from Merriam-Webster. The definition of unpersoned: an individual who, usually for political or ideological reasons, is removed completely from recognition or consideration. This is exactly what they tried to do. That these groups, these protected classes on the internet now. It used to be we had protected classes in society as a whole. Not anymore. Society has become so internet-based. The town square is no longer downtown. You no longer have an idiot on a box with a sign that says the end is near. Now you have people with Twitter accounts with blue check marks say, go after this person. Hey, do me a favor. Go tell Twitter. Go tell Susan. Go tell YouTube that this person's saying bad. And I'm glad you said that. If you agree, show me a person who agrees with someone 100%, and I will show you a cult member. That's it. No one is going to agree with people on 100%. Like Nick is 100%. A man does not cry. I don't agree with that. In privacy, a man can cry in privacy or at funerals. It's when people lie. These people have lied about Nick. Nick never said to go attack someone. Nick has never once called for physical harm on his critics. He has gone out of his way to say don't do it. Just like when he said, if you if you go to a convention and see one of these voice actors who didn't like Vic Mignogna, leave him alone. Don't say anything to him. I remember a video. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look that up real quick. There was a video, I can't remember where, of a young man, supporter of Vic. Oh man. Let's see. I can't find. But this guy, and he got it back. He got it back though. But Nick said enough is enough. He's going to be using it as a clip channel or video channel, but he's not going to live stream anymore. He's going to other platforms. He's going to Rumble and Locals. I mean, the numbers he was getting this week when he was off YouTube, when he did a court stream this week, he was getting what 26,000 on Rumble. That at this time is the largest stream Rumble has ever had, because it's a young company. Yes, and yeah, that's true. That's true. But and I agree. Nick said, I think it was in January, not in January, July or August, in super chats for YouTube, on YouTube, he made $700,000. And that's $21,000 in YouTube's pocket that they're not going to get anymore. YouTube, Twitter, and to a lesser extent nowadays, Facebook. What I was saying earlier, they have taken over the newspapers for information. They've taken over TV for where people get their news. They are now the town square. But all these lawyers on YouTube say, I don't know. I don't know. I don't deal with OnlyFans. No, I'm kidding. I don't deal with OnlyFans. Just think of if Nick started OnlyFans for his nose. But our town square, it's not just a town square anymore. It's more like a world square. When just 15, 20 years ago, you couldn't get information like you can now. Oh, we got Divinity said in the chat, "Hey Div, how you doing? Thank you for coming. I'm not talking anything nerdy today, so you might be interested. I won't put you to sleep today. I'm just talking about censoring and unpersoning it at the moment." But you are good. You're one of the good ones, Div. But information travels so freely now. The internet, Twitter specifically, is so ingrained into our culture. People are going to say, "Oh, Twitter's Twitter will go away one day. No, no, I don't think Twitter is so entangled into the fabric of our society. It's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, Twitter and YouTube, these are bigger media companies than anything Hollywood has ever made. It is insane how big these companies are, how much power they have. I'd say Susan and whatever Goat Boy's name was, Goat Chin, looked like a hobo when he was talking to Congress. Guy ran Twitter. Not, I can't remember his name. These are some of them, and Zuckerberg, the aliens in the Zuckerberg suit. They are some of the most powerful people in the history of the world. Because you know what they say, the old saying, the pen is mightier than the sword. Well, the keystroke is mightier than the nuke. It is absolutely insane, and these people can decide, I want this guy off. And if when you're deplatformed, you lose connection to nearly everything, nearly every aspect of society. You can't do anything. You can't go to your bank and get your money. You can't, because banks nowadays are deciding who we're going to work with, or if they like who they're going to work with. Politics of just, I'm rambling, I know, but this is what it is. This is just a chatting stream, me talking about random stuff. It is literally 1984 with better weather. Hey, Debbie. And for them, with no warning, let me find the clip. I'm going to find the clip. Sorry, I'm looking for something. Maybe it's on my Twitter. I know. This is very impromptu, so I didn't have a lot of stuff set up. Sorry. But 1 second, Nick had one of the biggest, most successful YouTube streams, and in real time, someone just decided, I don't want them to have it. Who are they to say if what he builds is worth it or not? I hope not, Nico. I just started a PayPal until I can get monetized on here. I'll share that at the end of the stream. But it's I can't find that clip. Let me check Law Nerd Clips. Yeah, y'all need to, Law Nerd Clips is amazing at archiving and clipping Nick's videos. He's awesome. Take care, Ant. Hope your team wins. My Auburn Tigers don't play till later on, so I'm gonna be watching them this evening. See you later. I can't find it. But it's just insane how it goes back to what I said earlier with the storms. 1 second you can have everything going for you, and then the next something happens, or in this case, someone decides to decides you don't deserve it. You don't deserve all the work you've put in. I was listening to Nick. I was catching up on Nick's Rumble earlier today. He said he has hundreds and hundreds of videos between 4 and 8 hours long. Some of them up to 8-10 hours long. How many hours, thousands of hours did he put in for 5 years to become the number one super chat earner in the country? And for these jerks, just because they don't agree with him, to lie, to submit fraudulent documents to the government with these false bar complaints, because that's what they are. They're false. There's no because when you fill out these documents, there is a box that asks you, is this information truthful? And to move on, you have to click yes. That is why that specifically in Minnesota, Nick said you have to put your real name, address, and all your information, all your personal information. It's so people won't abuse the complaint system like that. But they do anyway, because nothing happens to them when they file these false complaints. And Debbie, I'm the same way. If I don't like something, I move on. I'll talk about it, but that's it. I'll talk about it for a little bit. If I don't like someone, I'll talk about them, move on with my life. What someone thinks of me does not matter to me. I'm here just, this is a creative outlet for me. This is fun, but I'm tired of being everyone's. It seems like I don't know where else to go. But we are so back to our tribal instincts now. It's everyone. It's this group against that group against this group. For even the littlest things. Oh, you don't agree with me 100%? You're evil. You're pure evil. It's not that you're wrong anymore. It's that if you disagree with me, you're evil. And that's the insane part of all this. It is this cult mentality that has just taken over society that we see. I see it pretty much in every aspect of it. I'm a nerd. It's in my name. I'm Outpost Nerd. Do you know why I call myself that? I explained my last one. I call myself that because I'm on the fringe of nerd culture. Nerd culture is one of the most exclusive, closed-minded, hateful groups of people I think that are out there. I mean, and we see it all the time in these. If you don't like Star Wars, it's because you hate women. What? What? You hate Rey because she's a strong woman. No, it's because her writing sucked. Daisy Ridley is a fine actress. But an actor is only as good as the writing. Let me see something. I'm confused. Yes, like Daisy Ridley specifically. I'm bringing her up because it's the most recent, the most well known case of, oh, you just hate strong women, you just hate because it's a woman character. I don't hate Daisy Ridley. I didn't like Rey because she just seemed like it was overconfident, unfounded confidence with her. But one of my favorite movies was Murder on the Orient Express back in 2017. She did great in it. I loved all the whole cast was great. It was a great movie. Didn't hate her in that. It's But if I say I didn't like this little part of it, I would have thousands of Rey defenders on my back. I can give you a personal example of this. I am a big fan of a show called Firefly. It's set in the future. Mankind's out in space. It's set after a civil war. I made the joke about one group being kind of the Confederates from the Civil War, American Civil War, and people in this group of this fandom just came at me saying, "Oh, you're saying they support slavery?" No, that was a joke, because Firefly is based. The idea from Firefly came to Josh Whedon when he was reading a book on an airplane about a group of Civil War Confederate veterans trying to make a living after the war. And that's basically what it is. This group of people, they're in space, they're on a spaceship, they're trying to make a living. They were on the losing side of the Civil War. So they're just trying to eke out a living on their own. Nowhere did I say they were slave owners, but people took it that way. And that's what people don't listen or don't take you for what you mean. They take you at what they think you're saying. And that's not how things should work. It's absolutely crazy that people don't hear what you're saying. They hear what they think you mean. If that makes any sense. I'm tired of the fighting. I wish people would just I don't want to say agree to disagree. I don't like that. I wish people would just listen. I listen to a lot of views I don't agree with because, one, I want to hear where the other side is coming from. And two, I want to learn. I remember a few years ago, I was in college, and I went back. I had gone out of high school, straight out of high school, like everyone. Did it for a few years, decided, maybe I needed to go out and work. So I worked for about 5 or 6 years and went back at 28. And dealing with these kids, and I say kids, these are kids, 18, 19-year-olds, never had a real job outside of school, are still really young and naive who really haven't had a boss look at them and says, I don't care about your feelings. Get your work done. I always felt like I was walking on eggshells because there was more than once that someone didn't like what I said and would go to our professor. And I would be dumbfounded. It was crazy. These kids, and there were a couple of them that I really liked working with. There was one young lady, we got to be good friends. She was so good at bouncing ideas, taking your ideas, bouncing it off you even more, and making it even better. And I could see the difference between college when I was first out there and college when I was out there the second time. When I was out there in 2006 and 2007, and then I was out there 2015, 2016, you could see the difference. But I mean, I worry about where these next generations, what they're going to do. I mean, we're already seeing what they're going to do when they get out in the workforce. They cry, they create these campaigns against their own employers, and then most of the time the employers cave. Like there was a school recently. And I got a great example of this. It's just what I'm saying. New York University professor fired after students said his class was too hard. Some parents and teachers say the firing of Matlin Jones Jr. points to a lowering of academic standards, and they would be 100% right. The New York University professor who was the subject of a petition from students who said his class was too hard continues to stoke controversy. No, I cannot believe that. He taught organic chemistry. And look at this. Only 80 students from his 350 student course signed the petition. That is the perfect example of the minority screaming and complaining loud enough that the majority, the people in power, cave. He was 84. He's 84 years old. What is he supposed to do now? He probably's given his whole life to this university. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is just disgusting. And you know what? Some of my favorite teachers, some of the best teachers, most influential teachers I ever had, Debbie, were the older, grizzled ones who took no shit from students, but wanted you to succeed. They wanted you to do your best. I had an English teacher. We were doing reading, and it was not just spelling tests. This was in middle school. I always had trouble with spelling. It was one of the hardest things. I thank God for spell check now, but it's made me lazy like everyone else. We did spelling definition words. He'd give us a list on one side, or a piece of paper, or a test. On one side, it had the blank lines. On the other side, it had the definitions. You had to pick which definition went with each line, and not just spell the word, but know the meaning of the word. I could not pass one of those. It was just so hard for me. He he called a parent teacher conference, looked at my mom and said, "This isn't working out. I love having him in my class. He's a great student. He's a fun kid. But if he stays in my class, he will fail and get held back." So with his encouragement, I was able to get in a better class, get more help, smaller class, more help, and I ended up passing the my English with an A that year. All because this old grizzled Marine turned teacher did not want to see me fail. You know, you know what? And I bet Debbie, I bet you wish you could go old school on some of those kids sometime. You know, my mom has worked in the school system for over 30 years, nearly my entire life. And some of the students she had, she want to bring back paddling. It's the students do not respect teachers like they used to. It's because the parents don't instill respect in the kids. And this is coming from someone who doesn't have children, but I still have respect for people. And that is that 7-letter word, respect, RESPECT. Yes. God, how sad is that? And you know what? You still sing it too when you spell it. Everyone knows how to spell respect because he's the song. Respect is what we do not have as a society anymore. Not just the United States, but all over the world. There's a lack of respect. We see it in every aspect of society. There is no respect. You know what? It used to be like what's his name? Is like when the country was founded, we had Thomas Jefferson and Hamilton. How they hated each other, but they respected each other. You know, we knew they didn't like each other, but we could see that they respected each other. We knew that they wanted the best for the nation, but they had different ideas of what that best for the nation was. You know, they always say respect. Respect is not. I've always said respect is not given; it's earned. And these teachers who I had, they earned my respect. They took a low paying teaching is not a career. And I think Debbie would agree with me. Teaching is not a career, it's a calling. You have to want to be a teacher. You have low pay low paying, it's a low paying job. You catch so much shit from parents. You'll never be rich being a teacher. But you've earned that respect by following a calling to better society. And that's respect, the lack of respect for anything now, for anyone. You know, I'm reminded of the Merchant of Venice. You know, I mean, let me look that up. It's I mean, look, this is one thing I love Shakespeare. I hope to perform more of it one day. And this is one of his most powerful speeches on just the respect for someone who just humanity. This is from The Merchant of Venice, and I'm going to read it. I am a Jew. Hath not a Jew eyes? Hath not a Jew hands, organs, dimension, senses, affections, passions, fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and same summer as a Christian is? And this is the most powerful line, I think, in the entire thing. If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you're wrong, shall we not revenge? If we are like you in the rest, we resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge? If a Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance be by Christian example? Why revenge? The villainy you teach me, I will execute, and it shall go hard, but I will better the instruction. This is just a powerful passage, one of someone screaming for respect, saying, we are the same. We are the same liberals, conservatives, Republicans, Democrats. We are the same. Everyone in the world is the same. You know, it's the line, prick us, do we not bleed? Everyone bleeds the same color, red. One group is not lesser than the other. And to show that we need respect for each other. And we have seen this week that lack of respect for people, for groups. There are groups out there that want people dead, buried, their families destroyed because they don't think like them. They don't. And that's, Debbie, that's the point. You hit the nail on the head. We are labeled too much. We have gotten beyond the fact that we are one race. We are the human race. And people don't see that anymore. People are so small-minded, closed-minded. They see they see only what they want to see. They have built echo chambers around themselves so much that if anything disagrees with them, they come at it with violence. They come at it with hatred, with vile, and they attack and want someone dead. These people, the people that went after Vic, they wanted him dead. They wanted him to lose everything to the point that he would kill himself. It's the same with Nick. Tug recently, that umbrella guy, recently had Child Protective Services called on for his children for no reason other than he supports Johnny Depp. That he spoke out against Amber Heard. So him using his right for free speech was seen as evil by these people who support Amber Heard. I don't want Amber Heard silenced. I don't want any of her supporters silenced. I want these people to hear their bad ideas and come to the decision themselves. And that's what we need. We need respect and we need freedom of speech and freedom of ideas. Freedom to share ideas comes from freedom of speech and then the freedom of decision. It's just sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. When did that stop becoming true? When did words become violent? When did words become assault? I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired of the hate. I'm tired of the violence. Tired of the division. And I know I'm not idealistic enough to think, oh, we'll one day be dancing around the campfire, singing kumbaya, dancing, throwing flowers everywhere. No, I know there's going to be strife, but shouldn't it be the human endeavor to end as much strife as possible? You know, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping things get better. I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. But I also see that fewer and fewer, it seems, people think the way I do. I just we saw someone who's created a platform where he educates, he entertains, he uplifts. We see all that in Nick Rekieta's stream, and we saw it nearly come crashing down because a minority, through lies and using a system that has designated them a protected class, they have taken a system that had turned them into a protected class and used it as a sword to try to decapitate people that they see as wrong. Now, Nick is rude, can be rude, he can be crass, but deep down, I mean, how many people have super chatted and said, "Hey, fat shame me. I'm going to use this as motivation." It's, and sometimes you need to be said, "Hey," and you need to be told you're doing wrong. If you love someone enough, if you care something enough, you're not just going to support them when they're doing right. You're going to tell them, "Hey, you're doing wrong. You're messing up. You need to do better." And people need to realize that doesn't come from being if you come from a place of hate. When you tell someone they're doing wrong, you're wanting the best for them. You're coming at that if done right, it's come from a place of love, of caring for them. And it's and Debbie, a lot of people are saying that, but that pendulum is going right before it starts swinging back, it's going to be at its worst. And I don't know if we're there yet. I don't know if we're at the point that things are so bad that it starts swinging back. Because once it starts swinging back, sooner or later, it's going to get to that other point. That's the way things are. It goes back and forth. And I don't know if we're at that point yet. Well, someone give me a topic. I want to get off this doom and gloom stuff. Someone give me a topic in the chat. But Debbie, I just let me. I want to say this to you, Debbie. Thank you. You decided. There's no words that can express how grateful I am for teachers. A lot of the teachers I had were like I said, some of the most influential, impactful teachers or people I've ever met. I remember a few years ago, I'm watching the news and they do a story from our local library. And I look at the lady. It's my first grade teacher. A lady I hadn't seen since the early 90s. So I go to the library with a picture of me and her from back when I was little. And I go up to the lady and I say, excuse me, ma'am. And I show her the picture and I say, do you remember this child? She's like, yeah, I remember him. Oh, wow, that's been so long. I said, ma'am, that's me. And she said, I wouldn't recognize. She was one of the best teachers I ever had. There is a good teacher can change a life around completely. But I'm so proud of my mom. She's not a teacher. She's a teacher's aide, but she is. I had friends in high school that like, oh, that's your mom? She was such a great teacher for me when I was little. She's always worked elementary school. She never worked out of elementary school. But I was always so proud of her. She would say, I'm not going to get rich in money. She said she's rich in other ways. So, I want people to. Oh yeah, I had a couple of teachers that I started going to this church and they were there. I had a teacher there. I'm like, oh, hi, Miss Harris. That was her last name. She's like, you can call me by my first name here. I'm like, no, I can't. It's weird. But Debbie, if that makes you feel, how do you think, what do you expect them to feel like? And it's weird seeing a teacher, as they say, out in the wild, outside the classroom. But we don't have respect for teachers anymore, for anyone. And this is a story that I remember. I was just happened this week. A coffee house in Portland was vandalized for announcing a coffee with a cop of it, not holding the of it, for announcing they were going to have it. Because there's such disrespect. Now, I'm going to preface it with this. Not all cops are good. I know that. I've experienced it myself. But there are good cops out there. I have very dear friends who are good cops. But just look at this. This woman's whole life she probably put into her coffee shop. Look at these. All the windows, all the paint everywhere. This woman, she's Native American. She had Native American artwork that was just destroyed. I've been with my mom in stores, and she'd run into one of her students, and they never freaked out. They'd always run up to her and like, hey, but the parents would be like, who is this old lady that my kid is running up to? And my mom would explain, oh, I'm her teacher, and they'd be like, oh, okay. But I remember one time me and my buddy are walking through our mall, and we see our science teacher. And we go up to him, and he's just like, it was just so weird seeing them out in the wild. But getting back to this, still haven't identified the police or the culprit suspects yet. And it's just, she says all her windows and front door were busted out. They sprayed painted the whole building just because she had in their opinion, the audacity to have an event honoring police officers. Luckily enough, her community really stepped up. They really backed her up. They helped her clean. And, it's just ridiculous. Why didn't these two people decide to come and talk to the cops? And even the police helped clean up. But it really comes down, and I will say this, I will keep saying this, it comes down to a societal breakdown of respect. And it's until we learn respect for one another, a respect for different views, for different races, different groups, there's no way we can get better. But with that, I'm gonna. If you liked what I said, if you like to support this channel until I get monetized, I have a PayPal link on my YouTube page that I'd be more than great. I'd be so grateful for any support anyone would be willing to give me. Because a good cop is great. But, so if you want to support this channel, I got a PayPal link. I got an Amazon wish list starting. Also, a like and subscribe, share with your friends would be immensely helpful. But I'll leave off with what I say every stream. Find your passion and nerd out about it. Find what you love and nerd out about it. But so until the next time, I'm the Outpost Nerd. I'm out of here.